This set of drawers was gifted to me by my beautiful neighbour. She didn't have space for it in her house, and it had been in her shed for a couple of months. So I went and had a look, and solid mahogany, beautiful deep drawers, nice joinery. Yeah, I was more than happy to wheel it down the street and into my garage. Some of the drawers were sticking. The old finish was failing. Where the boards were joined, it was delaminating. The boards were sort of just coming apart a little bit, and there was a big chunk out of the bottom corner. So the first thing I did was got as much glue as I could into those joins and clamped those up overnight. It was a bit of a slow job. I could only do one side per day because I've only borrowed one giant clamp off my dad. So the awesome thing is once that was all set and the piece was all true and strong again, none of the drawers were sticking. So that was awesome. I opted to scrape the old finish on this piece. I find scraping way faster and cleaner than using a stripper. It is a technique, and the more I do it, the easier it's getting. So it's becoming my go-to choice. And yeah, it doesn't scream at me all the time like it did at the start, so I'm getting better. So one of the things I love about refinishing furniture is the process. I never know exactly what I'm going to do. Along the way, as I take it back to raw, scrape it, sand it, ideas just start coming. Like flaws are revealed that dictate some choices, but it's a beautiful process just to see where it's going to lead. Love my orbital sander. It was actually a gift from my brother for my birthday. Crazy generous. I used to do all my pieces with my little mouse, and I didn't realise that it wasn't a great sander until I got this one, so pretty happy about that. So I fell in love with mahogany working on this piece. It just glows like candy. So here's that patch that was missing down the bottom corner. I mixed up a 2-part filler. This dries super hard, but also meant that this part would have to be painted, this bottom section. So another thing I discovered on the top as I was sanding it back was there was some bleeding happening. So each time I sanded it, it looked great, and then I would leave the shed, come back, it looked like someone had splattered paint on it. So I needed to order some shellac spray to seal this in. So I don't know if something had been spilt on it in the past, and something with oil in it, and it was trying to come out of the timber, or if it was from the timber itself. But either way, I couldn't do anything until I'd sealed that in. There was no shellac spray locally, so I had to order that in. So in the meantime, I'm going to start working on other elements of the dresser. So I decided I really wanted to put the silhouette of Mount Taranaki across the front, and I was thinking just a stylized line. And after I'd done that, it didn't seem enough. So I went back to a stencil I'd used on a previous piece. And I love this one because it reminds me of the Pohutakawa flower. And then once I'd finished this part of the process, I was like, yes, this is it. I was super happy with that. And so there was the green along the bottom, the green in the mountain, and then I also put a green strip on the little piece at the back on the top. I don't know what it's called. It's probably got a name. So at this point, the shellac had arrived and I was able to seal in that bleeding on the top. I applied teak oil to the inside and outside of the drawers. This really hydrates the wood and just gives it a good protective seal. And then on the entire outside, I gave it multiple coats of Resine Aqua Clear and Satin. Just gave it a light sand in between each coat with just like a 600 grit pad. But I love the finish this Resine Aqua Clear gives. It's really hard wearing, silky soft to the touch, and it doesn't yellow like polyurethane does. And I couldn't reuse the old wooden knobs. One of them was broken. I didn't want to use the old knobs anyway. And I opted for some bronze hardware that I think fitted the look perfectly. So here we are. Not a drastic transformation. Just gave it a little bit of character. What do you think? Thanks for watching.